evening. Welcome to Investigator News. I'm your host, Ellie, and this is today's news, world news, investigator news, and reports that China has had intelligence base in Cuba for at least 30 years. Now, when the Clintons were here in Arkansas in the 90s, 80s and 90s, Attorney General to a governor, they invited many diplomats and ambassadors from China to Arkansas. And I knew once we started seeing a lot of businesses popping up that something was really going on. And now the report has basically said they have been here since 92. A retired American intelligence official told Miami Herald in a report published Wednesday that China has been conducting espionage activities in Cuba since at least 1992, taking advantage of the fall of the Soviet Union to forge closer relationship with fellow communist nation, because it was a communist nation. They were pushing communism since Kennedy, Bay of Pigs, and others that were communists down in Cuba. The report follows a growing concerns within the United States and China and Cuba blossoming relationship triggered by a report with the Wall Street Journal. And this was last month, claiming that Beijing had Havana were discussing plans to build a spy base on the island. Cuba is about 90 miles away from Americans and hosts a pivotal American military base, the Guantanamo Bay facility, making it an enticing target for such activities by the U.S. rivals. So, who did the White House blame? Past presidents. Well, it's the same thing with what they keep claiming, and they blame Trump for. Why can't Biden stop this? It's like the report that came out about Afghanistan. They said it was Biden's fault, but it was Trump's fault too. Well, Biden could have stopped it. Why does it take them just complaining about it? Now, they just need to quit complaining and fess up. We got people in the chat room, so I'm going to throw all the stuff up. And Linda G is in there. All right, so this is something that is very concerning, that this administration wants to blame past presidents for actions that they could have stopped, like Afghanistan, or even communist CCP moving into Cuba. Now, we also know that they are a big part of Venezuela. They keep failing to mention this, that China and Russia have been part of Colombia and Venezuela for about 5-6 years now. It could be longer. So we have the Gulf Coast, the Gulf Coast, and the Gulf waters. And, what's in between there are oil rigs. Are they going to be able to overcome and take our oil? China's looking for resources, folks. China isn't much for war as much as they are for resources. What is the resources? But many rigs in the Gulf waters that have oil. Now, China doesn't have their own oil, so this would be very lucrative for China to go ahead and take it if they can't. Boy, where's William today? I got lots of good stuff like this. Philadelphia. I was complaining on the last show. You might have to go watch it. How horrible Philadelphia is this week. And there was a man arrested for shooting 5. He's a Black Lives Matter supporter who likes to dress in women's clothes, according to the report. Kim Brady Carricker, 40, he's 40 years old, was arrested shortly after he allegedly opened fire in the city's Kissing neighborhood. Kingsessing. I think that's how it's pronounced. King's Essing. Karen and Susan's going to have to probably tell me if I'm saying this right. So on Monday, killing 5 men and wounding 2 children, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. Police said Carricker was apprehended wearing a bulletproof vest and carrying semi-automatic rifle, a pistol, extra magazines, and a police scanner. Now, haven't you noticed that they're all starting to do this? And some of them even have um, grenades or a type, or they have Molotov cocktails. They are always either BLM, Antifa. They always wear a vest. They're always a um, um, where they are. We had a woman that was being a man. Now we have a man that's trying to be a woman on the last 2 big shootings. And this is a Democrat thing. Republicans have rejected the of cross-dressing. They do not, and I want y'all to understand this. We don't. We're not turning a blind eye to gay. We just say, do it and don't put it in our face. But they tend to put it in our face, and they are anti-Christian. And that really does upset a lot of the conservative Republicans that are very Christian and have a faith in God. Now, the Catholic Church was the one that took them in, and they turned on the Catholic Church. So now we have these shootings. We have them burning down churches. We have them massive shootings with these people. Now, many politicians have said this is a mental issue that needs to be addressed. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. You guys are, you guys are big enough, you can decide on your own if this is right or wrong. Police said that he fired shots at them when they arrived on the scene, but they chased him down and cornered him in an alley without further violence. Most of the time they commit suicide. Or sometimes, just like the last one, where they shot this girl and killed her when they caught her. And we're seeing a lot more violence. I don't know if I should even read the next one. It's just a story about home invasion with one guy with a lead pipe, and the guy had a gun, and he did shoot the guy, but didn't kill him. But the homeowner was beat with a lead pipe. Knocked on the door. When he answered, he started beating him. How often are we seeing and we're hearing about this? A lot of the small towns like mine, we haven't had to lock our doors, but we are now. A lot more people are arming themselves. A lot more guns have been bought. A lot more pepper spray, they say. A lot more home defense. A lot more cameras. And yet we have Democrat cities run on it's okay to be a crook. And what was their original? I want to go back to their original statement. They said if they don't arrest them, they'll quit committing the crimes. Now, crime has risen. Now, we have looked at their policy now for 2 years. Has it worked? Has their social programs worked in creating jobs and making inflation go down, or have made anything better? No. Maybe I'm speaking for a campaign for you guys to vote a conservative or Republican? Maybe not. You just have to look at what is going on in your world. Biden said he's created 13 million jobs. Wow. But remember, we were on lockdown. How many jobs were lost? See that they're not going to tell you that. I want to see how many jobs are lost, and then I want to see how many with the 13 million. Let's mingle them together and see what he's created. How many businesses have just closed in San Francisco, LA, Colorado, Denver, there, New York? How many businesses have closed down? This is the first time in history we've seen this. And why? Crime. We now have Home Depot in LA and some of these major cities that are now having to lock up items. I've mentioned this to you. When are we going to, they're going to lock up the stores and you drive up and you go and you stand in line and you pick your stuff up and you have to order everything online? It's getting there. It's getting close. A world we don't recognize anymore. Now, I know my mom was surprised when new technology came out, but it never hurt her and my dad. It never hurt my grandparents either. And now that we're at the age of our parents, or at least I am, I look at the world and I say, what the hell happened? I used to support moderate Democrats. I didn't vote. I never voted Democrat. But we're looking at 1 year away from the vote. And who are we going to pick? And I keep telling everybody, it's not the man, it's the plan, folks. You got to look at with the plan of the Democrats, the plan of the Republicans. I hope this is good for somebody, or share it with somebody tonight. Because we have to take a long, hard look at what's going on. We got China at our doorstep. How do we know that? Because they say so. And Yellen going over there, me and William mentioned it last night, and I said, is she going over there with the other ones? No, she went in there, and she didn't get her appointment canceled, but she did not speak to Jinping. Isn't that who we should be talking to? We could talk to Zelensky anytime we want. We could talk to Putin. We could talk to any world leader. Anybody that we send from this administration, we have been able to talk to world leaders, and past administrations have been able to. They just pick up the phone and they call them. Why isn't Biden talking to Jinping to stop this? And what is he going to stop? So what about the White House now want to do chemtrails? Now, Ivanka Trump stopped them, the daughter of Donald Trump. And she stopped them. They were able to put a stop to it because of what they were spraying on us. Aluminum, barium, who knows? There was other stuff. And it was to dim the sun. And they did it. It was always that haze. Well, it was stopped, and we seen the blue skies, we seen the sun, and what did the Biden administration do? Forced solar on us, wind generators, solar panels, cars, everything electric. And then after everybody is forced to do it, then he says, wait a minute, hold, everybody stop, I'm going to do chemtrails again. Oh, what's the plan for the solar stuff then? No plan. Green New Deal. When's the last time you heard anything about the Green New Deal, folks? Not for a very long time. They're not screaming about it. because them and all their friends, Bernie Sanders and AOC, got their money. They got their jobs. How many job creations were there for the friends of senators, congressmen, and others that we created, and they're counting those jobs? Socialism jobs. We got to have the welfare, got to have the food stamps, got to have, hey, how about those commercials with, hey, you know what? We'll get you $2,000 in food stamps if you just call us up. And we'll give you C and D on your Social Security. If y'all fell for that one yet, does it work? Call Social Security first, folks. Because I found out questioning them that I was going to lose my benefits for 2 months. No money. They don't give me money. They just give me insurance. But I was going to lose my money for 2 months to cover what they wanted to. And then once a year, I would lose money. Too good. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, we haven't heard nothing about the border for a while either. Look at the mess that was created by the border czar, Camilla Harris. Yeah, what'd she do? Well, we know she went down to South America and she talked to all them, and all of a sudden they turned their backs on us. Mexico don't want her back. China doesn't want nothing to do with her. Neither does North Korea. The only one that really likes her, I think, is Zelensky in Europe. Maybe Canada might like her, but nobody likes her or Jill. Why don't they like Jill Biden? And what has Jill Biden done for the school lunches? That's usually what the First Lady does. How come she's not a First Lady? They say Jill Biden, but they don't call her a First Lady. I could say a whole bunch about 4th of July, but I won't. Because I've seen too many flags being burned. And I don't want to talk about flags being burned over the flags that were up, the hot dogs that were ate, the barbecue steaks. Wow, we all had a wonderful time. It wasn't the same, but you know what? The patriotism of this country was starting to show again. We're starting to see the woke go to sleep. And I say they weren't really woke. They were asleep all this time because you know what? They didn't pay attention to what was going on in the world and what they created. They created a monster. But we can't see this monster. We just know it's a plan to destroy our country. And the border, Republicans are now calling for the military to step in and do something about the cartel finally. When is our administration going to deal with the cartel? Mexico has been fighting the cartel for decades, and we've never helped. And now they've crossed our border and setting up. They've been taking farms, and we see nothing. Here's another part of the plan, folks. If you're going to vote for Biden, why would you let the cartels into our country? Why would you agree to something like that? So many pieces of the border isn't there, and you say, oh, no, I don't want no fence. Why? We've always had borders. Every country has a border. We're not shutting it off and saying nobody's allowed in. Get real. Wake up. See, they're not woke. They're asleep. Wake up. Wake up and see people are coming through the border. How about don't be stupid. Don't be a fool. At the end of Bohemian Grove, the main guy after they do the sacrifice, the human sacrifice. He gets out there and says, "Fools. You all are fools. You're fools." That's what he's calling all their voters. That should turn their stomachs, and that should make uh, them change their vote. But they it's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. There's film out there. It wasn't just Alex Jones that went and did this. There was others that went out there and watched as the Democrat leader climbed in that boat and did a mock human sacrifice and called all the Democrats fools. Wow. Shouldn't that wake them up? It didn't. It didn't. No, you know why? Because they went to the White House and wanted to run around naked. Who does that? Stupid people, fools. If you wanna dress up like a woman, if you're a man, you want to be a one of these glamour dolls or whatever, go do it. But don't do it in front of our kids. Don't do it at the schools. Don't do it at the libraries. Go have fun. Go have a beauty contest. Find out who's the best. But don't force it on us. It seems that the conservative Republicans don't force things on people. And we don't. Why? We're not an angry party. They are. They're angry like rhinos and snorting. Why are they so angry? They go in the protests and they're angry. Arr, yeah, let's get the cops. Why? What the cops do? I thought you were protesting against this. That's where they get lost. We're finding out they're over in Israel. Well, for what? We find out they're in France. Our Antifa, BLM people that have been paid to go over there to protest. What do they, or what about if they protest um, something here in our country? What do they, if you're protesting, why are you so mad at the cops? Fools. Linda G, I hope you're liking this one today because it's a wake up call. We don't have but a year, a little over a year, and we're going to change this country. And we have to get the Democrats and the moderate Democrats on board. How do we do it? It will never change their minds. There's hardcore Democrats that are my age that said, I voted Democrat all my life. I'm not going to change my vote. Now, believe me, I've seen it in my face. And I was like, do you like what's going on in the country? No. No, they don't like that. Do you like the crime rate you're seeing? No. Do you like Biden? No. Then why are you voting for him? Because I'm a Democrat, they say. You'll never change those people's mind, folks. Walk away. Now, is Russia ready to do a nuclear bomb? Now, I'm hearing many publications. Boy, I've read them, I've listened to them, and I'm like, is this what Putin said? Well, because Putin does what Putin says. When Putin says, I'm going to do this, he does it. He hasn't announced nothing like that. Now, he has said he's drawn the fine line. They've crossed over. But all of a sudden, here's a trend, folks, I want you to notice with Zelensky, Putin, and the Ukrainian war. Every time Ukraine does something, the media says, "Oh, he's going to get the nukes." Well, how long has this been going on? Over a year. And every time they do something like the dam, what about the pipeline? Oh, Putin's going to get the nukes. It wasn't Putin saying he's going to get the nukes. It was our administration. And why? to put the fear in us. Oh goodness, oh goodness. Be scared, folks. This is it. This is it. He's gonna do it. You have to listen to what if you go through your YouTube channels and you see Putin making a speech, listen to it. He hasn't said anything about no nuclear bomb. Now, and they said, oh, well, he was going to bomb this, the nuclear plant. And Putin said, no, you guys said you were going to do it. Isn't that what happened with the pipeline? And all of a sudden the pipeline was sabotage. Is this what we're going to see again? The nuclear inspectors went in and they took a look and they said, everything looks good. Now, who's in charge of the nuclear plant? Russia is. And they said they have downgraded or downsized everything they're using. It's not me and William talked about this last night. It's not really a threat. Why would Putin bomb his own nuclear plant? What sense does that make? I ain't going to call nobody a fool on that one. No. Now, how many terrorists, I want to go back to the border, should have done this a few minutes ago. How many terrorists have we let into the country? Miss Sherry, welcome back. Good to see you. Very good to see you. Huh? Everybody Sherry's been missing for a while. You're going to have to catch us up and chat with what you've been doing. Yeah. Boy, the earthquakes are something, girly. So, all right. So we're on the border. And how many? Now get this, more Chinese and ISIS has come through Canadian border than they have the southern border. And where are they going? A lot of them have went, like MS-13, have went to the gangs. Now, I have told you, and Karen knows about this, that I have talked about compounds that the Muslims have done a long time ago. It was training camps for MS-13 and those coming out of Mexico. This is where they're going, they say. And with China and Cuba, they say more than likely we could see another 9/11 or worse within the next 2 to 3 years. And this would be under if we win the election, it would be under our administration. So you have to look and say, oh, 9/11 was under a conservative Republican administration. Will they do it again? Because you remember Omar? Oh, she disked all that. Oh, yeah. 9/11 was nothing. She didn't even care. And don't pick on the Muslims, she said. Well, when they're radical and they do bad things, then they got to be, we got to say they're bad people. But get this. So they're saying that the compounds, Karen, now listen, because you'll back me up on this. Those compounds they're now finding are very, very full. For the longest time, for 10 years, there was maybe 20. Last time that the feds looked and the CIA were able to spy and look on them, they're full, maybe 100 in each one. Be fearful of that. And there's one in Oklahoma. There's some all over the country. I might have to do another show on these compounds. There is a G20. It is a space. It's space leaders. So it's G20 space, and the satellites and everything that we have up in space. Now, I didn't realize they were doing this. We see the other G20s, but this is a new one. It's the first face-to-face meet after the hybrid, they say, ones hosted in other countries. They kicked off in Bengaluru on Thursday. 18 heads of national space agencies and 9 of the invited members are to this 2-day event. And this goes on the economy, um, the Responsibility Alliance, considering that the G20 countries, along with partner countries, represent approximately 85% of the global GDP. Calling for an alliance of responsible space faring nations, enhance and share space sectors. Pointing out that all walks of human life include science, technology, telecommunication, agriculture, education, health, rural development, disaster, warning, migration studies, climate change, navigations, space technology was at the very end. And they did this without even notifying anybody except for those that showed up. Thank goodness WION caught it, or I wouldn't have known it was going on. They say, oh, they're going to talk about the economy. And why? What does that have to do with space? See some of the stuff they're doing, folks? Everything behind our backs. They're not going to say what they're doing, and they didn't with this one. None of it was really had to do with space, except for more technology is needed, more satellites are needed for telecommunications, or Star Wars, of being able to put weapons in space. The rest of it, they were talking about the economy. What's the economy have to do with space? Another way for them to get in and start making changes that the G20 with Klaus Schwab keeps having. Now, I don't know if did you guys know that China bought out Ford in ways? Well, now they want to make moves, um, um, and now the former Ford plant wants to come here with Chinese workers. Yeah, job creation, they say. It'll help Biden with job creation, but they'll be making electric cars. But it'll be a China plant with the Ford name on it. Boy, I'm so mad at Ford. I could kick a pony. Oh, I tell you, for a long time I wanted one of the Mustangs. Uh, but I had other cars that I way more fond of. But shame on you, Ford. You're going to bring a plant back, but it's all controlled by China and the CCP. It's all controlled by them with the Ford name on it. How many jobs will this create for the American people? Or are they all filled with Chinese? And that's what they tend to do with the Belt and Road Initiative. And I mentioned this for so long. I almost felt like I was just boring you guys with it. But now can you understand? They're going to put a plant over here. They put Chinese supervisors, managers, and all them. They put them in place. And most of the time, they bring their own workers here or to that country with the Belt and Road. And then they hire a few of the locals to fill up the spots that they can't fill. Like I said, folks, don't worry about China blowing us up because they need the United States. It's about power. It's not about what's going on in Ukraine where they're destroying states. China doesn't want to destroy us. He wants to take us all over. He wants the United States as his. and have power over us. The only thing he can't get is the military or the Navy. The Navy is what the biggest threat to China is. And Yellen going over there, and she is saying, well, we can change the way we handle China. Um, and what's the word for it? Let me see if I can find the report on this. Decouple. She's working on to decouple us from the from China. Wait a minute now. So did she threaten them? Now we should couple with them. We should not be poking the bear at this point. We should be not doing business with them. We should be watching to see what they're doing and get them out of our country. Like, look at what, 7 police stations? So, folks, Yellen going over there is just another joke. It's like Blinken. China is probably seeing her coming and was laughing like, now you're sending in my grandma. That's how I took it. I was like, okay, send someone in really good, someone really strong. And even the ambassador that we had looked and said, oh, good grief, no. Why would we send in grandma to put our foot down and say, no, you're not going to go into Taiwan. No, you're going to back down. No, you're going to get out of our country. But that's not what happened. And over the next few days, I bet we find out things that she said that they probably laughed at her over. They laughed Blinken all the way out the door. And then they send in Yellen? Really? That's the plan? Why didn't they have a plan? Joe Biden has advisors, folks. These are probably some of the best they could find. And you look at what their plan is or what they're doing, you have to wonder who these people are. Now, I heard Obama was one. Really? He would make these dumb moves with no plans, no end product, no plan. You do a plan, it's from the beginning all the way to the end, and there's a really good outcome. Not you start a plan, in the middle of it you go, we have no clue what we're doing, folks. I guess we'll find out what happens. And that's what this administration has done. We need a good plan. And are we hearing it? No. Listen to these candidates, even Trump. What's the plan? Well, he's going to come in, he's going to flip this, flip. Oh, okay. So what are you going to do to put it in its place? Okay, you can do away with his rules on the border, okay, but what are you going to do to fix it? We don't know. What about the IRS? Oh, we're going to get in there and we're going to overhaul the IRS. We're going to take the guys with the guns out. And okay, so then what? This is the problem with the Republicans. Yeah, I'm throwing the daggers their way too. What is the plan? We can't go in there and do what the Democrats or this administration just did. Went full force to take out whatever they could of Trump, and they were going to put theirs in with no plan. Now we're going to go in, run in, take out Biden's thing, put our stuff in, and then what? We can't even get past the Senate for plans of Mayorkas or Garland or Blinken or Fauci or any of these people. Any type of impeachment, anything to change what they have done, we can get a resolution on it. It goes all the way to, all right, let's vote on it. And then all of a sudden it just falls because, Biden isn't going to sign it. When did a law that the people want get decided by the American president? No, it don't need to happen. What about what just happened with the Supreme Court. And they said, you know what, Biden, you can't call all the media to the White House and sit in the Oval Office and say, you're allowed to say this and that. No, the judge ruled and said, nope, you're not going to do that. That's cheating. Yeah, cheating. And it's misinforming. I heard that and I thought, you imagine all the times that I wouldn't have been banned because of stuff that they told the media that wasn't allowed. It's far and wide when you start thinking about who he talked to. He called in a social media, had talk with them, and all of a sudden we were all bad guys. Not only that, we had the pandemic. Wow. And the media was on top of it. They were being told what to say. Now, being told what to say by the government is, no, 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 that's wrong. So many things are changing, folks. We're seeing the Supreme Court do what they can, but there is no plan for the future with this administration. They said, oh, in 2030 will be the end of the plan. I'm fearful of 2030. Who will be in office in 2030? Or what about 2027 was the other date they had? What's going to happen? Because everything they said, a lot of the stuff they signed in was to go into effect. Bernie Sanders, we're all going to die. Oh, yeah. Now he's got a little girl mad at him. I hope she stalks him. I don't know if I could say that. I might get in trouble for saying that. That's what they call violence. All right, I take it back. Maybe you should just go poke him in the belly, and he's not going to go woo hoo hoo like the Pillsbury Doughboy. There's no plan, folks, either side, and that's what's scary. That's what you should be looking at, is what is the plan of the future. And I don't see neither side doing it. And they're like, well, we'll just do independent then. Where's the independent people? We don't even see a candidate, nor do we even know if they even got a plan. Everybody's just going to take out and try to make everything better. But, okay, when you take everything out, what are you going to do to make everything better? And see, that's what this country was founded on, was the plan. And what they do is called the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Because they wrote all down, said, this is how we're going to do this. You don't see that anymore in politics. And I learned with my constitutional class and civics and social economics that you have to have a plan to be able to run your government correctly. And this morning when I was looking at the news and I was like, fools. Yeah, just like they were doing at Bohemian Grove. Why are they falling for this? Is it the zombie drug got the zombie drug got in the water? And you see all these people with mental health. When did that happen? I mean, I knew we had them, but they're really bad now. I mean, we need some mental hospitals with the. Can we do FEMA camps, I guess, to put them in? Because something's wrong with these people. What happened? What happened 2 years ago when the tide changed? Did it do something to their brains? Was it 5G? Was it 4G? Was it 10 years ago? Remember when it went to 1999 to 2000? Everybody was freaked out. Oh, the clocks are going to be all screwed up. Well, they did it and it changed and everything was fine. But what happened? What happened to your brother that's turned on you, your sister, your mom, your dad, your aunt, uncle, friends, people at work? All of a sudden, everybody's mad. Remember I was saying that earlier, they're mad like a angry rhino. They're, snorting and Why? I thought we were buddies. We spent Thanksgiving together. And remember, we used to love each other, and what happened? Something happened, folks. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's 5G or what. But didn't all the mentals come out of the woodwork in 2020? I mean, look at what we're seeing in Philadelphia with this new zombie drug, and they're looking for it. They can't walk. They have no clue what's going on, and they're looking for a drug to make them worse than what they're in the state of mind they're in. They got to have it. So it must be very addictive. Fentanyl must be something that they have to have. What I want to know is how many senators and congressmen take fentanyl? Shouldn't we test them? It's used for pain, folks. How many politicians take fentanyl? That's what we need to know. All right, so let's see. I got to make sure I didn't miss nothing on my notes. Um, um, Now, one thing we didn't hear about is the feds and their rates. Did you guys know they're talking about raising them again? It was a small little article on all the business pages today. And I kept hitting all the business pages thinking maybe somebody's wrong. Remember, because he said he couldn't do it anymore because of inflation. Well, the little article he came out with, and now we know that the feds, after it could be after this next quarter, because everything of all the IRS stuff is broke up into quarters, and so is the economic part of our um, taxes and how we pay for everything. And I kept looking, and it was like they're talking November, December, and January of maybe raising rates. That's Christmas, and then after the first of the year. So we're going to see another rate hike, and why? Because we keep spending. We just passed a budget, folks. Remember, they had to have it, had to have it, had to have it. Let's not close down the government. We got to pass this. Well, now if anything added is we got to pay for it. So of course he's got to raise the rates, and we have to see more taxes and hurt us with a cost increase of everything. They're talking gasoline big time. I see the plan is to continue destroying America. Get this, Karen. They think they're really going to fix this. That you can't tell a moderate Democrat that you're destroying America, and they're like, no, we're not. We're making it better. Look at Biden economics. This is a new one I heard. Everything I could do not to laugh, because look at the state of the country and the state of the world and what he's affected for the rest of the world. I I don't think he's trying to wreck America. I think it's the World Economic Forum that's trying to do that. I think Biden is just wandering around, um, talking to nobody. They say now that's a big one of his, and trying to dodge the bullet of the illegal stuff his son has done. And so China, we have Yellen over there, and the same exact time Yellen's talking with the ambassador, diplomats, whoever it is she's trying to talk to, Jinping urged the military to deepen war and combat planning and to increase the chances of a victory. Actual combat, he said. No more practicing. We need to get a few people that would want to sacrifice themselves, or they're going to have to pull up a bunch of dummies. He calls it, I'm deepening the war because we are ready. We're just waiting for the mistake. And as I mentioned last night, they are running into Philippine and South Korean boats now. They're blocking the Taiwan Strait. They have moved exercises into the Pacific waters. We've seen them around Alaska and Hawaii. They're pretty much all the way around us, but we're all the way around them too. And so as we so as we look at Ukraine now, uh, is Putin? I'm sorry, is Jinping waiting for the Ukraine war to be over before he does it, or will he run at the same time? We don't know. We don't know what's in the mind of Putin, and we don't know what's in the mind of Jinping. Now, Jinping will only go on when he sees America and its allies at its weakest militarily. Don't look at the state of their country is in. Look at what they have for a military and how much protection they have. And as you know, I look at Klaus Schwab a lot to see what's the next thing they're going to do. And sometimes I can catch it, and sometimes I can't. But he is in a hurry to destroy the planet. Now, who was it? The plan is to destroy America. Now that would be Klaus Schwab, but guess what? Uh, Even our allies are taking a look at him saying, no, 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 we need coal. We need wood. We need food. We need our farmers. More and more they're pulling away from it. So we see a desperate measure from the World Economic Forum. Then now we got this G20 thing. When did we start having G20 every few months? I thought it was all together and they settled it, almost like a big convention, a 2 or 3 day, but they don't. Um, and the more I see what's going on in Ukraine, folks, um, even the Atov battalion um, are now getting sick of this war. And they said, maybe you just need to send someone else in. We want to go home for a while. You see, that's where me and William should really show how they rotate. And if you have a son or a daughter that's in the military right now, you see that. They'll be out to, let's say, the Navy, they'll be out to sea. Then all of a sudden they're not in their home, or they're out of San Diego or Florida, whatever port. And what they're doing is they're changing the guard, because you don't want a pilot, you don't want someone in the Navy, Army, ground troops, sky troops, naval troops become weak. And so when they say that Putin wouldn't do that, or China wouldn't do that, it's wrong. We do it all the time for UFOs. Uh, does other countries do that? No. They just look at them dumbfounded and say, we've been seeing these for a very long time. And that came up too with the week. But I do want to concentrate on what we're seeing in Ukraine because I think it's it's going to fizzle out. I could be wrong, but I could see where it's starting to fizzle out. Now we've got China and Taiwan. Uh, we have vowed that we will support Taiwan. That doesn't mean we're going to go over and fight. It just means we might send them weapons like Ukraine. Is that what is that what Jinping is counting on? And I think he is. I think he's counting on we're just going to send him weapons and you guys go ahead and fight. Isn't that what NATO's doing to Zelensky right now? And it's not turning out well. If we want to win in the name of America, then we need to win. We don't need to have people fail out. But that's what this world's all about now. Anyway, folks, that is it. And I hope you enjoyed the news today because I got real in depth on a lot of stuff. And it's about the plan. We have got to look at, listen to these politicians and see what comes after, even Trump, because we got to know we can't go into 2024 and be lost and be worse than what we are now. Subscribe, hit the share, hit the like button, ring my bell. Karen, thank you for being here. And I think it was, no, I don't think Mary was, but Sherry jumped in and said hello. So uh, we love our new viewers and thanks for your support. But like I said, subscribe, hit the like, hit the share, hit the follow, ring my bell, and come back tomorrow. Tomorrow will be trivia. It's the end of the week. Um, I want to thank everyone for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow and for news and trivia. So let your friends know this trivia night. Come in and have a little bit of fun. All right, folks, we'll see you then. And thanks for watching. Come back and do trivia for Friday. God bless.